As costs for a college degree continue to go up, it may soon be harder for some to receive enough federal student loan money to complete that degree after the Department of Education handed down new rules last week regarding which degrees are considered professional and which aren't.
This all goes back to the big, beautiful bill passed earlier this year that stipulates only, quote, professional degrees are eligible for higher federal student loan limits, and those that are classified as professional will be capped. That has some major industries sounding the alarm. Under the new guidelines, degree paths like nursing, education, architecture, social work, and accounting are not considered professional degrees. And as Jennifer Mensick Kennedy, the president of the American Nurses Association, explains, that could have ripple effects.
They capped at $100,000 lifetime, $20,000 per year. And so nursing school does cost much less. Only federal loans qualify for repayment programs, such as public service loan forgiveness and some of those rural health loan forgiveness programs, where we have nurses, advanced practice nurses, going into rural communities and serving for so many years to get their loans repaid. Only federal loans qualify for that. So if some individual needed to get private loans, it would not qualify for any of those repayment programs. This is devastating.
Following the announcement from the DOE, many on the left have taken the internet to express their outrage. Connecticut Representative Joe Courtney writes on X, in part, at a time when our country has a shortage of nurses, the Trump Department of Education's new rule excluding nurses as a, quote, professional degree will suffocate entry of RNs, nurse practitioners, and physician assistants into our hospitals, clinics, and healthcare system. It will deny students the opportunity to pursue rewarding careers and is an insult to every hard-working nurse who cares for, heals, and consoles patients every day. And Democratic Senate candidate for Kentucky, Amy McGrath, wrote in her own post, programs being excluded include many fields dominated by women, like healthcare, counseling, and social work. This isn't a coincidence. This is a way to quietly push women out of professional careers. Limiting who can pursue advanced degrees in critical professions will only deepen the workforce shortages we're already facing.
But Professor of Education Policy Studies at Penn State, Kevin Kinzer, argued to Newsweek that there may be a fiscal advantage to the new rules, saying, quote, it is to limit the exposure of the government to loans that will not be repaid, whether because of default or through public service loan forgiveness policies. So the list includes professions that generally result in high salaries and neglect professions that have lower earnings or less prominence. As for the DOE, they're standing by the change, arguing in a statement it will pressure universities to lower tuition and not push students into excessive debt. The department is also addressing concerns from nurses, telling CBS that 95% of nursing students won't be impacted by the borrowing cap. Quote, as for the most expensive outlying 5%, of enrolled students are grandfathered into current lending limits to ensure there are no barriers to completion. The new classification is set to take effect starting in July of next year. I think this is absolutely called for. We can't have this system go on. The federal student loan system has to be significantly reformed, if not abolished outright. We are seeing very clearly what the result is. It's way too many people who have unsustainable levels of debt, particularly if they don't finish college. We are tricking them. We are saying, oh yeah, take out all this debt, go massively into debt for a college degree. And the colleges love this because that allows them to raise the price because it's not competing in a market system. Whereas if they charge too much, then you can go to some other college that charges less because the government's paying it on the front end. It's not till years later you realize, holy can't say the word, I can't believe I have to pay this back. I'll never get a job that can pay this back. Then they're mired in debt. Being mired in debt is a bad circumstance. It affects you in all sorts of ways. And then you're reliant on the government to maybe forgive your loan. It's a broken system. You can't have the government subsidize the cost of it while also exercising no control over the price of the service. That makes no sense at all. It clearly correlates, and multiple studies have shown, it correlates with the increase in tuition. Universities can charge whatever they want because you're not paying it directly. You are paying it eventually, indirectly. It's a system that makes no sense at all. That's why I fought so hard against Biden's student loan forgiveness program. I understand that I feel bad for people stuck in this system, but you can't say we're going to do this one-off forgiveness and then keep the system intact that puts people in this debt. If you're saying this is a bad system and we've ruined so many people's lives, well then get rid of the system. How can you argue this we'll be right back to having this many people in debt in a few short years unless you change the system.
Well, I think that you're right. There is a problem with the system, but I don't know that starting with the federal loan program is the place to start.
That's what causes the problem.
No, the cost of college is the biggest issue in this whole entire circular issue here. Like, college is very expensive, and for people to try to achieve this idea of the American dream, it's completely unattainable. So when you start with cutting off and not labeling things like people who go to school for nursing degrees and things as not professional, now you're isolating an entire group of people that maybe perhaps it does cost too much for them to go to college and follow through their degrees. But now also we're making people not perhaps want to go into that field. And this is a struggling area where there's always a need for more nurses. There's always a need for more of these people in these fields. And we're kind of isolating them. Physician assistants, physical therapists. These are healthcare industry jobs that are always recruiting for the most part, particularly nursing. I know that for sure because there's constantly people and ads and everything that say at hospitals that are looking for nurses. So that should be obvious. And when we're facing national shortages, I don't know that to start with the people that are struggling the most with the financial debt to say, oh, well, we're going to not serve you anymore because to the right wing, I think, commentator that you read their quote that it's going to save money because they'll never pay them back. The issue is that they can never pay them back. Not that we don't want the same amount of nurses. We still want to keep those physician assistants and nurses and have people be able to pursue those things. But college has gotten wildly out of control and it's unattainable to the average American.
Because of the student loan program.
No, I don't know that that's the only reason that college is out of control.
It's not the only reason, but I've seen studies suggesting it's responsible for as much as 50%
so tuition has
of
doubled,
the increased sticker
tuition
price.
doubled in the last 30 years. Public university tuition's up 30% in the last decade.
Yeah.
Okay, many programs increase their tuition by 4% each year.
Yeah.
Is that necessary? Is that only because of student loans? And I think like if you cap it at a certain number, then that's where we can start to make change. Like, what are these colleges? They're now asking for federal funds, which I know that you criticize all the time. They're now asking for donations because I get an email every month from Temple University. I don't know about your school, but for most part,
University of Michigan. Oh yeah, alumni services.
And I know plenty of alumni are giving millions of dollars.
Those panhandlers can move right along. They're not going to.
You don't give a dime?
Me. No.
Did your college not change your life?
Oh, God. I have no mockish sentiment. I liked the University of Michigan. Go Blue. I root for the Wolverines, but they don't need my money. They're getting government money. Out of the kindness of my heart, no.
And part of this, when you think about the list of the people that are getting isolated, we're artificially devaluing certain professions just by saying that they're not professional. We're putting this memo out that President Trump and his team say that you're not professional because you won't have enough money to pay back this loan, so the job is not important and adequate and
but
necessary.
Lindsay, you understand how, let's say I'm interested in procuring your services. You own a media production company, right? And I need to purchase the services of a media production company.
Okay.
But there are other media production companies, so you're competing with those, and maybe you charge something. But then the government has a program. Robbie, we'll pay you we'll give you $1 million to procure media services. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you just pay it back later. Like long time. Don't worry about it. Okay. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to raise the price of your media services because I just got an extra $1 million to pay for it. It's as simple as that. If the government floods it with money, you can raise the price.
As somebody who paid back,
it's not complicated.
I paid back my loans in full. Like in full. It took me a long time, into my 30s, to pay back my.
And that is a worthy achievement.
But that's what I'm saying.
A lot of people can't.
My parents couldn't afford to pay for me flat out to go to a private university that was out of state. And so if there wasn't an opportunity to access those loans because my degree, let's say journalism, all of a sudden is not professional to the president, well then what is that to do? Then I can't pursue this thing.
But 40 years ago you could.
No, and most people in journalism can't afford to pay back their loans in full. They're in the same situation because if you talk about local markets actually writing and some of the jobs that are available for people that study journalism, then it's not high paying.
We got to go, but I would just say that 40 years before the student loan system had wrecked this, you could work and pay your way through not every single college in America, but much more so, and get a good education and get a good paying job because of that than you could today.
We could also require
before
these
40 years of loan distortion
to raise the prices that they pay people so that people have enough money to pay back their loans. That's also another option.
No. Up next, Bill Maher and Lara Trump found common ground slamming the mainstream media. We'll tell you more next.